Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome, I'm Lea Chapin. It is May 10th, 2021. I want to thank you for being with us today. If this is your first time, you are going to have a great delight. I've got a special guest, our former show host, Pam Silver Eagle, is here with us today. We're going to talk about Atlantis. We're going to talk about an activation we did at Warm Mineral Springs in Northport, Florida a couple of weeks ago on Earth Day, and so much more. So I'm so delighted that you're here with us. And for all those who've been with me in the past, thank you for supporting us. And thank you for all the sponsors. Dr. Lauren Love, who has sponsored here my show, as well as all the other shows here on Goldylocks Productions. So we thank that team for their loving support. So today I want to introduce Pam Silver Eagle. She's been with us here before, and she was a former show host. Conversations on the Perch, I believe that's what it was called, right, Pam?
It was, oh my goodness. No, it was, what was it? Close. It was Enlightening Conversations from the Perch. I knew it wasn't quite, there you go. So
I almost had it.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me back on. It's been a while. Been out of the saddle, as they say, for a little while, so it took a little extra prep for me to get myself in gear here, but just a joy always to be on the platform with you and for us to share what we're doing.
And what do you have in your hand?
This is an amazing staff that was gifted to me in my last 17 months up here as I've been on this journey in northwestern Pennsylvania. So it's a powerful staff, and I used it for a lot of the ceremony that I was doing, throughout this past, like I said, 17 months. And it was handmade. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's
beautiful.
It's got two bands of copper on it, and some really great graphics here. There's some codes on it that I don't know if the viewers can see. I'll try to find mine. There we go.
Beautiful.
So it's become a very powerful staff, and I use it in a lot of the transmissions and the healing work, and when I'm doing out in the land, anchoring in these energies and the codes. So yeah, thank you.
Well, those who don't know you or don't know about your work, just tell us briefly a little bit about your your connection to the earth and the work that you do with Mother Earth.
Yeah, thank you. I am what I term as galactic shaman. That's one of the main things. I've come very connected to Earth Mother. I have done this many, many lifetimes as far as being of service to Earth Mother and, of course, the divine plan. So that's the shamanic piece, but also as I've expanded in understanding the galactic piece and where I've come from, and so many amazing divine helpers, the galactic helpers that are assisting me amongst all the other helpers that I have. And so one of my big assignments this lifetime that I said yes to was to come back at this time, of course, and to help transmute discordant energies. And that would be all across Earth Mother and also within people. And so hence my work with the Sacred Flames and the Ascended Masters, Divine Complements. I have been up here in, as I said, northwestern PA. For those of you who used to tune in to my platform, I appreciate it. It's good to welcome you back and to have you here with me. And for the new viewers, I've been here 17 months and helping to caregive for my parents. And what has obviously, come to my understanding through all that 2020 was, as well as to present time, is helping with some transmutation, even the soul contracts at the agreement for my parents along their soul evolutionary journey. So helping to transmute karma, but also heal the land from, again, all the discordant energies throughout history of time, all right, all the wrongdoings, and to bring the love and the light here into the earth plane, and to help my clients too, and just, when we're teaching, when we're doing opportunities like this, when we're providing on different platforms, the great mastery teachings, the truth teachings, to bring in a sacred way, so people feel safe and people feel very grounded. I know that's one of the pieces of feedback I get, that I really hold in an honorable way, in a sacred way, that I can help others as they're making their transitions or their awakenings, to feel comfortable and grounded. And with all this, current energy, and really the process we've all been into, this new great awakening and this great shift, it is really, really powerful time, and certainly not easy. So, for those of you who, I'll just add, I was an educator for 28 years in the public school system, until it was clear to me that it was time to fly, as that system was no longer enabling me to, do what I needed to do, and as I was expanding. So once a teacher, always a teacher. That blue ray and the green ray, and Lea are, that's one of the reasons I smile when I think of how you and I connected, and our work, of course, is so very parallel for what we bring, and yet each of us have our own soul mission. So thank you.
You are welcome, my dear. For those who watched the show last week, I had Joanne Weiland on, and she interviewed me about my personal history, but also we were talking about the history of Atlantis. And so I wanted to have Pam on, because on Earth Day, on April 22nd, Pam was a part of a group of ladies that helped assisted us with clearing the discordant energies from Atlantis. And I wanted to share a little bit about that information today with Pam and her assistants. And so, Pam, I'm just going to start out with you going. Let's go back a bit before I share what I want to share about our trip to High Springs, Florida, and how that crazy adventure, which was delightful, emerged. Before we were trying to go to Gainesville, Florida, to a powwow, and ended up in High Springs, Florida. So I'm going to have you take it away and explain what was said as I had brought that message from Joshua when we were up in High Springs.
Yeah, that was, the intention originally of that trip, like Lea just said, was to go up to this powwow. And I've got a lot of friends in the powwow circuit, and two of my, I just love Shelley Morningsong and Fabian. They were the headlining artists there, and Shelley is an amazing flute player, and Fabian dances there out in Pueblo. So I invited Lea to go along, and of course, after we hit the road, it became really clear that this was more. It wasn't an adventure. This was more than just a pleasure adventure. We were going to be doing some work, and the beauty of it is, when we do this kind of work that's aligned with our soul mission, it does bring us joy and a passion, and really ignites that fire within to just do it. And how grand it is coming through to share and to work with others that are in alignment with us. And of course, that changes throughout the journey. But this trip up to Gainesville, long story short, is that it didn't turn out anything really much like we thought. But we realized, hindsight, when Lea was channeling Joshua, it was the Sunday morning, and we landed there Friday night. And landed there means we totally ended up north of Gainesville in High Springs. Those of you who know the area, it's a gorgeous place, and it's one of the beautiful, beautiful nature springs, ancient nature springs in the Florida area. There are many of them. So we manifested this most amazing place to stay, and it was just quiet. Yeah. And the guardians who are overseeing that property, I don't know if they're still there or not, because this was 2019, March 2019. I saw my pictures today. So anyways, we'd gone to the powwow on Saturday, and we were guided to buy these. I've got mine with me, and I didn't bring much on this trip. And I happened to have, I told Lea earlier, we were talking, I said, I've got my Shiva stone. I have a little one, and Lea bought a number of them that day. And of course, the Shiva, for those of you who may not be familiar with the Shiva stone, it helps us come into balance, the divine masculine and feminine, of course, within, and then for those of us who do the intentional work, also without. And so I happen to have this in my medicine bag, and it is on this trip with me in just a small cluster of a few other precious stones and crystals, etc. So we go to this powwow, we get these amazing stones from an old Atlantean friend that I met at the powwows years ago, and we spent the day there. We were told the next morning we were getting by Yeshua that we were getting downloaded that day, and some blockages cleared within each of us, but also downloaded with these some new codes. And that he proceeded continued to say that I was being downloaded with the codes of the white tablet codes. And in my humanness, in this lifetime, I wasn't really sure what that meant. Excuse me, I'll take a drink of water. And so he proceeded to say that for me, when I lay my hands on people in my healing work, that it helps them it downloads the codes for these Atlantean codes, healing codes, white tablet, and helps them to remember their purity, their oneness, and that this would become part of my, my healing work, but modality as I continue my work. And that, from that, Lea and I had already been talking. We were going to start teaching the coursework of the 7 sacred flames from the sacred text of the Ascended Masters. So Lea had been familiar with those works, and that was all came through me as initiation when I went to Mount Shasta and had my big activation initiation. So since then, been called to it, and this is some of the work we do, and we've done some work together. We've done some teaching in both St. Pete and Sarasota. I just took some notes here too to see what else. So for me, part of this clearing discordant energy, what I told Lea was, long before I really recognized this part of this mission that I said yes to, before I was even awakened and to remember why I've come and what I'm doing, I've been clearing discordant energies, in all places I've lived, homes I've stayed in, and spiritual communities I've been in. So again, I work a lot with the sacred flame of transmutation, Saint Germain, and now I'm really clear. I have been for a while that this is part of my work, and it's powerful. When I look back at a lot of the things that I had to go through and didn't understand why I was going through those things, every place from, like I said, that I've lived, that now I understand that this was part of the great sacrifice that I said yes to, and the lessons, of course, but to, be transmuting these energies. It's powerful, and it's so good to connect with our soul tribe and our soul clusters, so that we're like, okay, yeah, this isn't crazy. This is what we're doing, and it's powerful, and this is the time. So.
And do you remember what they shared with you about that land being Atlantis and what was shared at that time?
Excuse me. Yes. So that morning, that was a Sunday morning, and Yeshua had asked us to go to the springs up there. I should have peeked back at it, but I think it's the Blue Springs. It's out there on Rum Island, because I was watching that video that you and I did, and we were to take the Shiva stones, which we were told they don't need purified, but they were to help to anchor in these new codes and healing, because that entered that land. It was a healing temple from Atlantis. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, people go there for recreation, but many souls just not aware, not conscious to the point of to the understanding the healing powers within those waters. And so that's part of what Lea and I's mission was that weekend. A big part was to go and download these keys, these energies, and to clear some space.
Did they tell you at that time? I don't recall Did they tell you at that time that you were one of the priestesses in Atlantis? Is that where you remember feeling left behind? Because I want to get into this here in a minute.
Oh, at that point, no. I mean, obviously, from what we were being told and what we were being guided that week, I knew that I most likely was priest or priestess. I remember, really, I remember a lot more, I think, about my Lemurian life than the Atlantis. But as I'm doing this work and expanding now, it's all really resonating. So what I had shared with you is it was more through so many times in my life where I've felt abandonment and betrayal and left behind. Mm-hmm. And that's what I understand is a deep wounding and a healing that I've been going through in transmuting for myself, mm-hmm. a greater understanding of the great talk about sacrifice many, many lifetimes. So if that answers your question.
It does. And what has come up for this last year for us with this COVID, which I don't really want to talk about much today, but I do want to talk about this as a time of purification. And what is not balanced within us is coming forward to be purged. And you have this sense of feeling left behind or not being recognized in some way. And for me, it's brought up a loneliness. So these emotions that are coming up are here to be purged because we're going through this powerful ascension time. We're going through this powerful purification time. And this parallels a lot of the information I've got about Atlantean, that we're replaying a lot of the same patterns from Atlantis. And we can begin to change those. But as we have been in positions of power of priests and priestesses during the Atlantean time, we are being asked to step up again, to clear those old wounds and traumas, those old emotions where you felt left behind, feeling a sense of loneliness, or feeling like, why am I always alone? Why am I always like working? Why am I so dedicated? Why do I not have partnership? In many ways in my own personal life, I may have it, globally with other people, but simply the sense of being alone and walking alone, just as you. And so I wanted to share a little bit about what I received in November 2021. And then I want to share a little bit about Ramu and who Ramu was for those who didn't listen last week. But I went to a meditation at my church, the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light in Sarasota, Florida, on November 1st of last year, 2020. And for those who may know, and most of you probably do not know, I'm a native of Illinois. I'm a snowbird. I live there part-time, or have for many, many years, but that is my home state. And last year when I was there, before I came back to Florida, I was holding the energy there in what is known as the Heartland. The area that I live in is called the Heartland, which is directly aligned to the heart of Mother Earth. And so this is the transmission I got during that meditation. It says, I was in Illinois, protecting the energy of the heart of Mother Earth to be in balance. And then we had two friends, Linda Mayer and her husband Fred, were in Ashland, Oregon, and go down Mount Shasta, California quite often. And they were also at this meditation. And I heard Linda and Fred were in Mount Shasta, embodying and bringing the telos, the Lemurian energy of balance, to themselves and to that area in that region. That we were all back together in Florida to bring balance to Atlantis during the distortion and the time of the fall of Atlantis. I saw the dragons from the Shasta and Telos breathing the fires of life into my body to help me to return to balance. I saw that holding the energy in Illinois for the heart of Mother Earth was difficult and exhausting. So the dragons breathed in the fire of life into my body to help me to be balanced. My time in Illinois was productive and complete. I am in Florida now to hold the balance for Atlantis to heal and return to its original state of grace and beauty. And so I always wonder, why we are located where we are. And yet Illinois is the heartland. It's my home space. But I was there, as many of us were last year, sequestered and alone in my hometown of Galesburg, Illinois. And I was told that Springfield, Illinois, which is about 2 hours from Galesburg, is really the center of the heart of Mother Earth. And this particular year, I'm actually going to go back to Springfield, Illinois, where my sister lives, and go stay with her My father passed away, and so I gave up the place that I was living and didn't really have a place to go back to Snowberg again. And so my sister has asked me to stay with her, which is quite interesting, in Springfield, Illinois. I've asked Pam possibly if she would sojourn with me, because we are going to do some work in the heartland of Mother Earth on our journey hopefully at the end of this month. But this prefaces really what I want to talk about the activation that we did on April 22nd. I was told that I had moved to Northport, Florida. I had been living originally in the Sarasota and St. Petersburg area for 17, 18, 20 years. And last October, I moved to Northport, Florida, which is south of Sarasota. I was wondering why I was moving to this area, but I was told I was here to anchor the energy in Northport, Florida, that I was to anchor and grid this energy here. I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting for Atlantis, because I knew that I'd be working with the Atlantean energy. To my surprise, I did not know the full extent of that, because when Spirit tells me information, probably like you, Pam, we get pieces of things. We don't get the full picture, but they give us the information, and then eventually things begin to unfold and we begin to understand. Our other good friend Joanne Gall and I, and our friend Lauren Austin, as well as Pam, did this anchoring of energy at the Warm Mineral Springs in Northport, Florida. Lauren happened to have a map that was created back in, you won't be able to see this very well, but it was created in 2008. And in 2008, there were several light workers here in the Sarasota, Florida region. They were holding the anchor points into these different regions, because this is the prism of light. This was a powerful energy vortex, and many called Sarasota, Florida, the city of light. And the siesta key is a part of the remnants of Atlantis. And so the high point is in Anna Maria Island, which is north of Sarasota. The end point happens to be here in Warm Mineral Springs in Northport. So back here at the bottom of this prism is where I'm located, holding that point that I did not know and understand when I told that I was here to anchor this point.
Yeah.
As I laugh. Isn't that wild? So, did you want to share something before I go into this transmission, Pam?
No, I just the parallel. It's what I was referring to earlier with the work I've done too. Just didn't know why, and there was times in my life when I was really frustrated, because I felt like I wanted to go on. I wanted to find a new location, whatever all was going on in my reality. And I kept thinking, well, and I started, actually putting up prayers. Well, can I go here? And I thought, well, this is crazy. I'm free. Am I not free to go? But, and I say this because I hope this helps others who maybe have not had this awareness. If you're, another light worker, healer, as we call ourselves, that we truly are of service, and we live a different life than others.
We do.
So many times I've had to wait for my marching orders to go to the next place, in all divine time, and depending on, of course, the whole plan of the oneness of all that is. And so when we know these things, it is a great sacrifice, and of course it's also a great honor. And if it helps anybody in us sharing our some of what we're sharing here today, that that could very well be why you feel stuck, because there's a whole lot of wounding around that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I was telling Lee the other day, if I would have known some of what I back then, what I know now, it'd been easier to understand and accept. And yet, but part of this, even these ancient civilizations that we've been part of, the lessons that we've had to experience with the other teachers, so many other souls who we've danced with, who we've come in, our paths have crossed with, and that's what this is. This is this old Atlantean, Lemurian, these old civilization replay, in order for each of us to heal within and without, and then that's how it goes. And sometimes it's very, very hurtful, very painful, like speaking for myself, and some of that those lessons with some of those souls who I love dearly, and would never have thought that I'd experienced some things that I'd experienced with some souls, and in some regards even spiritual community. But now I understand, and it's made me stronger. It's helped me to step back into my power and, onward with what I'm here to do in greater ways. So thank you, Lee.
Yeah, it seems that's how it rolls, doesn't it?
It seems.
That's how it rolls. Because I always wonder. I've been a rolling stone. I've lived many, many places, and I never totally felt comfortable. The closest place I felt home to was Sarasota, Florida, which is a city of light. So I keep, being in this surrounding area. I haven't lived in Sarasota since 2002 now, but I'm up in St. Pete. I'm now in Northport, and somehow I can't seem to get back to Sarasota. But I was back there on Saturday, and I was like, oh, I always feel this sense of comfort and warmth, and like I'm home when I'm back in Sarasota. But
and real quick, I know that when we first met, we started sharing a lot, and obviously we knew each other as old souls, but I'd spent a lot of my time in St. Pete, and certainly I've walked many lifetimes as a lone wolf, so that I could do my work. And so it has been much the case this lifetime. So for those who don't know, I just is Lee sharing some of her kind of being displaced. I have been technically without a home since 2018, I think, October 2018. Mm-hmm. And that began a great journey. And I took a long trip out to the Southwest. I was guided, and I knew that it was a soul, a bit of a soul recovery, some healing, but also to reunite me with a really precious area here on Turtle Island in the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, etc. But the reason I say that, I knew that I was transmuting, and I've talked about that on some of my shows, transmuting energies during that whole trip. And and I've been up here in Pennsylvania for 17 months now, and all my stuff is sitting in St. Pete, and talk about saying yes. And I know that there's so many who will also watch that have similar stories of sacrifice and growth. So it's powerful stuff. Powerful.
And we don't always understand why things are happening or why we're displaced, but there's always a reason for all things. And before I go into this, one last thing, because I want to share this now, because our half an hour is almost up here. We're moving right along. My sister would always say, people in my family, I don't know, they'd say maybe they thought I was scatterbrained or woo-woo or whatever they wanted to, I'm not sure what they were saying. But she said, Lee, she says, but things always work out for you. She just couldn't figure out, if I'm scatterbrained, how does it always work out for me? I just sort of smiled and just kind of laugh like, well, I have spirit working with me, and my journey is much different than the rest of my family's, but I'm guided by my soul. I listen to my soul. I listen to my soul calling. It's not always easy, maybe uncomfortable, but I do what I feel guided to do. And I know and trust that the spirit is guiding me to be in service, as you said. So it's not an easy journey. But I want to go on to what we did on April 22nd here in Warm Mineral Springs in Northport at that prison point here, which is just below Sarasota, Florida. This is between Sarasota, Florida and Fort Myers. And I want to read the transmission that we did. And to back it up a little bit, Ramu is the generator crystal that was used or misused during the time of Atlantis. So to preface who Ramu is. So greetings, dear one. Yes, it is I, Christ. I come here on this most auspicious day with dear Ramu. We are here with all of the instruments of peace, and we give our blessings and our love to White Buffalo Calf Woman and to each of you for holding the energy of the sacred light for peace to return to this planet. It is of the most importance that each of you understand that this portal, this energy here that is located in what you call your prism of light, at this endpoint here in Northport, Florida, at the Warm Mineral Springs grounds, has been holding the energy of what we call the pieces and the particles of the energy of Atlantis since the fall. When dear Ramu, the generator crystal, was misused and the energy became dormant and the discordant frequencies had been laid underground in the subterranean energy here at this pivotal point to be transmuted. It is not by accident that each of you are here in this location and that you are now receiving this information on your April 22nd, 2021, on your celebration of your Earth Day. This is simply honoring the Earth. This is the time period that has been held within the realms of light, that has been ordained that peace shall return to this planet, and that the energies from Atlantis will now come forward and be rectified, resurrected, healed, restored to balance. There has been discordant energy here from the destruction and the fall of Atlantis. As you understand that this map, as you call the prism of light, with this point located here at the end region, here at Warm Mineral Springs in Northport, Florida, is part of the destructive forces that have been created and in balance within the Earth. It is no accident that you are here. It is no accident that you, dear Lee, have been planted here to bring the peace, the love, and the balance to this area in Northport, Florida. I will step back and allow Ramu to speak, but we're holding the frequencies for the reunification of the original seed of creation, for this energy is aligned to the sacral chakra of Mother Earth, and the original energy that was imprinted upon the Earth can now be brought forward on this day, clearing away all disharmonic frequencies and the distortions that caused humankind and Mother Earth and all of creation to be out of balance. What a beautiful day to return to balance and sacred union to Mother Gaia on the day of your Earth Day, celebrating and allowing the energy of love to be brought forth through many ceremonies that are taking place upon this earth, many holding the intention, as they say, of assisting this planet so that you may return so she may return as the divine goddess in which she was created. The original seed and seed of creation, the planet of love, the energy of dear Venus, the goddess of love, is here, influencing the frequencies and the energy from Mother Gaia. I will now step back and allow Ramu to speak. Greetings. Yes, it is I, Ramu. I come on this most powerful day, and I thank each of you for being conduits of holding the light. Each of you have been preparing for this moment of time, as this has been a part of your sacred soul contract. It is by divine appointment that has been brought forth. It is by divine appointment that this has been brought forward, and the preparations have been received. It is no accident that you are here today, conjoined at this time, for the reconjoining of my energy and my essence. At the time of the last destruction of the final days of Atlantis, when my energy was misused by those who were of the dark energies, I, the generator crystal Ramu, imploded as I was misused. My fragments of energy are scattered beneath the sea, the ocean, and yet the disharmonic frequencies have now emanated into this region, into the underlying grounds, here in this powerful portal or frequency. Many feel this portal is healing at the Warm Mineral Springs, and yet many people who are sensitive will begin to feel and have felt the disharmonic frequencies that have been laid underground here energetically. I come now to bring this balance and this healing, not only to this region, but to the continent of Atlantis, to all life forms that were destroyed during that civilization. You see, it was not until in this moment of now that this energy can be returned back to sacred balance, for 3/4 of humanity was to be prepared consciously, subconsciously, energetically, to be able to hold peace. Those who are holding the intention of peace and being instruments of peace are shifting, as they say, the timeline and holding the vessel of love for the dark astral frequencies to no longer be played. All will begin to crumble that is not of truth. All that is no longer for your highest good will begin to fall away. People, places, things, situations, institutions, even churches, the governmental rule that is not of purity will fall away. Those in power who are not of the light will fall away. And within your individual lives, you begin to see an uprising of energy within you, as if you're now feeling this surge of resurrection. You'll begin to feel a lightness, because this heaviness that has been overlaid into this region is now being cleared. And it's been like a shadow, a heaviness, a darkness. You say, why did it converge here in this location? Because it was the point, as they say, energetically aligned when the final frequencies were emitted through me, the generator crystal. My energy is extremely, extremely powerful. It was like a nuclear bomb that went off, and it radiated thousands upon thousands of miles, but the force here was very powerful. There's been healing on many levels, but now this healing can take place and be completed in its finality. On this day of April 22nd, 2021, it is time for the wholeness, the union, and the balance to be brought forth back to this planet. I remove come to anchor this energy, and has been said to restore my energy for purpose and good for others to begin to feel, sense, and to receive the healing and the balance and the restoration of the power of my frequencies. I will never be misused again. I will never allow any energies that are not of pureness, wholeness, and unity to misuse my energy again. But I come now to offer the energy of my sacred union, my balance, my energy, my wholeness, back to these lands and back into this prism of light from your point from Anna Maria Island, Florida, to Northport, Florida, here at Warm Mineral Springs. This will also extend into the Atlantic Ocean and throughout the regions of North and South America and into the continent of Africa and to Eastern and Western Europe. Our landmass, the energy of Atlantis, was enormous, felt as far away as Iceland. And yet this powerful frequency that's being emitted here in this moment of time, in this very spot that you are living and existing, Lee, holds that memory and the grids that have been misconfigured. Today they are being realigned, restored, rebalanced, as if today the sacral chakra is aligned to the region, the heart of Mother Earth, is receiving a healing, as if the meridian points, the acupuncture points, the axonal lines here in this region are being restored to the seed, and the seed of creation can be brought back into this region, as it is like reabsorbing the negativity, the discordant energy. It is dissolved, it is transmuted. We go back to the original energy of the purity of my essence as removed, the generator crystal, the original energy of the purity of Atlantis, when the times were balanced and the people were healed and people lived in harmony, where all remembered their power and lived in oneness. The energy is no longer scattered. The energy is no longer disruptive. There will now be a healing balm that will penetrate this land, and there is peace. Can you feel the silence? Can you hear the silence? Mother Earth is pleased. Mother Earth is pleased. Mother Earth is pleased. Miracles shall abound. Each of you will receive a healing in your individual lives for your dedication and your commitment to this work, a manifestation of great consequence, a gift to each of you, and the miracle for the planet and our lifetimes can now be gifted with balance. Can you feel the stillness within your heart? Can you feel the peace within your heart? Can you feel the quietness that the restoration of Atlantis has now been restored? We say, because it is time. It is time, it is time, it is time. Yes, I, Ramu, the generator crystal, has stepped forward for all you to receive the sacred balance, the sacred dance of the divine holy union within yourselves. And as you allow the balance within your own mind, body, and spirit, you'll begin to be the generating force. I, Ramu, I am a part of you, and you're a part of me. I am that generator force. You'll begin to feel this regeneration of your mind, body, and spirit, having more energy, feeling stronger, feeling more powerful, feeling more present within your own intuitive and higher self. So call upon me, and I will continue to assist you. But on this day, as you feel the peace, and you feel the regeneration, and you feel the centeredness and the wholeness of this land from this prism of light, in this area here in the west central coast of Florida, it is now returning to balance as all the frequencies of Atlantis are being restored. The destructive energies are no longer present. Disharmonic frequencies are no longer exist, as if they've been dissolved, transmuted. Venus, the goddess of love, is now emitting her energies into these grid lines, into the prism of light, into this point here in Warm Mineral Springs in Northport, Florida, and into the grid, into the prism of light here in the Sarasota region. The hearts of mankind will begin to change. They will begin to soften. They will begin to feel peace. They will begin to feel the energy of purity. They will feel the lightness on the earth as if they've been touched and their hearts have been opened, and the destructive forces that have caused mankind to harm each other, to be abusive and to abuse power will no longer exist. The hearts of all sentient beings shall be open. All life forms will return to peace. The energy that's been seeded will be seen in the hearts of mankind. You will see the change within yourself. Do not become discouraged by what you see in your outer world, but you will see the change and you will feel it powerfully, as it will change exponentially and quickly. Your compassionate hearts and your merciful hearts will begin to heal the world. You are the change you wish to see. You are the change you wish to see. Dearest children, you are instruments of peace. Where there has been hatred, there will be love. Where there has been injury, there will be peace. Where there is doubt, there will be faith. Where there is despair, there will be hope. Where there is darkness, there will be light. Where there is sadness, there will be joy. It is in this energy that you are the instruments of peace, and the earth has returned back to peace. It is time, it is time, it is time. It is honored to be with you upon this day. We have transmuted these energies. The grid line is no longer in disarray or misaligned, and all of us have infused the energy of peace into this prism of light, into the earth, into the sacral chakra of Mother Earth, into the energy of the seed and the seed of creation, into the hearts of all mankind, that the original energy of love, peace, joy be seated by all. And now this land and this point of entry, as they say, where this energy has converged, can now return to wholeness. You've done your job. You've completed your mission. You are planted here and assigned here for purpose and good. You've answered the call, and we are grateful. And yes, dear Lee, you've awakened my energy so many years ago in the Grand Bahamas, and now I shall remain with you, as I shall remain with the others. If you so choose, you may call upon my energy, and it will help to change and to regenerate and to shift any discordant energies that are in your life. It is my promise, it is my covenant unto you, that I'm the guiding light in the force field of energy that will allow you to return to sacred balance, wholeness, unity, and peace. In this we give our grace, and so it is. And so this was the transmission from that activation at Warm Mineral Springs. And to back that up, I've been here since October, and I felt funny being here in Northport, and particularly in this particular home that I was staying. I felt like there was some discordant energy here. I couldn't pinpoint it. I felt the sense of not being connected. I felt, just didn't feel comfortable. And usually when I move someplace, I feel rather comfortable, but I didn't feel comfortable. I was pursuing that. I couldn't figure out what it was. And that's when Ramu started talking about the discordant energies here that have been imploded here. So that really made a lot of sense to me. I feel a bit of it has shifted, at least in the environment that I've been since that activation. But if other people are feeling energies and they're are empaths, don't deny that or don't discard that, because there's a reason for what you're feeling. So Pam, I'm going to turn it over to you and have you just share what you remember of what you brought forth on that day. This was the transmission I brought forth, but what do you recall?
Yeah, when Lee and Joanne, and I guess Lee contacted me and told me that they were going to be doing this ceremony, and I was feeling guided to be part of it. So I was up here in northwestern PA, and I was guided to go out to the shores of Lake Erie on the bluffs, and it was a cold day. It was so cold. I was all bundled up, and I had my sacred flute because I knew I was to help raise the vibration, bring these codes in, these energies in, and anchor into Earth Mother from my point, remote point. And I set up way out on the shore. Like I said, it was so windy and cold. It was, I don't know, in the 30s, and the wind was coming off. And I was best estimate what time they were going to set up down in where they were, down at the Mineral Springs. So I was a little better than it turns out, but time is all fluid. So I was just following my intuition on how long to stay there, and I set up an altar and I held it in a sacred way, as I always do. And then I was guided to move inland a little bit. So I did, and I set up the altar again. And a few weeks ago, Earth Day weekend, I put up some photos. If anybody would like to go back to my Facebook page, they can see the altar I created in the whole space I was holding. And so I was in that location for about maybe 25 minutes. And then I was guided to yet again move to a third spot. And it was funny. I wasn't actually planning on setting up an altar, but I was following a deer trail and a little space of this woodlands that I was in that I go to frequently, and I've shared a lot of over the months from that space. But I just got the download that I know I've been working with Sacred Buffalo Calf Woman for a while, and I knew she was with me. And so I hung my flute case up on the tree, and I was guided to start praying flute. And it started kind of spring, almost like a sleep. And I thought, this is crazy. And my fingers were like, I can't put my fingers to play. So I actually put my flute back in my sheath, and I started just vocalizing and chanting.
Mhm.
And it was beautiful. And then finally, when I took myself out of that space, it turned out that when Joanne and you and I were talking, I think we talked later that day or the next, I think it was later that day. And it turns out the timing was Joanne said she actually heard my flute
Mhm.
from Pennsylvania down to Mineral Springs. She picked it up, and I'm getting God bumps. So it was beautiful. And she said, I don't know if she spoke it to the two of you, but she said, oh, I can feel her. She's praying flute. So, um, if you're watching and you're new to all this and it seems a little wow, well, it is wow because it's all good stuff. You're right. It's all good God stuff. And, it's just when we are walking with those who are also tuned in, this is how fun it can be. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, it's very sacred and it's really important, and yet it's such a delight to be working with those that we hold each other in that sacred way, and we share our gifts. And the ego is not so strong. We all have ego because we're in our human suits, but we you mentioned earlier, Lee, about so we kind of with intuitively we start piecing things together. And when we're working with those that we resonate with, and again, we don't have to be in the same physical location, and we're still in tune, and we're all still getting the hits of what is ours to
Mhm.
do. And that's part of the bigger lesson, right, of each of us. Every person here that's incarnated right now in the earth plane, agreed to come at this most auspicious and powerful time. So just know that you're not alone. And truly, we are all really starting to, we keep open our hearts and we're doing the work. We're really starting to reconnect with those that we resonate with, and doing the work together. And it's an amazing shift taking place. So
Yeah, we all have a piece of the puzzle. And so as we tie all this in to what's happening currently, we do see many parallels to the time of Atlantis and to our current civilization. And what we're really doing practically, we're not doing this just for the fun of it, we're really doing it to change the outcome, to change the frequencies, to help people open their heart and to begin to hold compassion and to begin to shift their vibration so that we can all be at peace, so that we don't have to go down the rabbit hole of Atlantis or the other civilizations that fell. So we are seeing so many of those parallels, and it seems to be really ramping up even just within this last year, for those who are sensitive to it and are awakened to it. For those who are not aware of it, there's a great deal of fear that's happening in people. And what one of my roles is to help people understand that you hold the light, you become the anchor of light, you be the change you wish to see, not to be able to stay stuck in that fear or what you're seeing outwardly, the external, to begin to move in, find a place of peace within your heart, do your piece of the puzzle, just like Pam and I are helping to shift these energies. We feel strongly that we're making a difference. That's our intention. We don't place our attention on what the outer world is paying attention to. We're aware of what's happening, but our focus is really directed in the heart, holding the space, working with the earth energies, working with the galactic beings, I'm so blessed to be able to communicate with spirit, as my show called Inspiration from Spirit. This is about inspiring people from the help of the higher realms from spirit to help you to raise your consciousness so that you can be a vessel of change. You are also that anchor. You are that point of light, that also a prism of light, that you're being anchored in the light to hold this planet in its pure state so it can return back to peace. I know we have our daily lives, we have our struggles, and yet if we continue to hold on to the focus of our real mission of why we're here, then a lot of those outer struggles will begin to fall away. Those daily concerns will not be such a hold on you. Things still exist for us that happen, but we can begin to see a higher perspective. We can see a higher purpose. That way we're not entrenched in our humanness, in our lower emotions that keep us entrapped into the lower frequencies. Then we can rise up and see, oh, there's a bigger picture for all things. That's how I look. That's how I try to live my life. And I know you do as well, Pam.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I've talked about a lot of this in my journey, of course, on my in my archive. So I would invite, before we close out, and I know we've got a little bit of time left. Anybody who is maybe just finding me, or if you did follow my platform and you want to go back, and because it's kind of like, reading a book or a sacred book, where you can sometimes you find something and you're not quite ready for it, and you kind of like, yeah, it kind of resonates, but you go back and check, and you might be ready now if you weren't before, or just to go back and pick up some things, little aha moments to help you on your journey. And again, they're helping our whole world shift, this whole civilization, this new golden age of peace. That's where we're at, is unification. And one of our soul sister, Joanne Gall, who we've mentioned several times, who was part of the ceremony on Earth Day, some of what I shared on my platform last summer was the work that I did with Joanne up in the New York State, and with the great nation of the Iroquois and the great Confederacy there. It's all part of what we're talking about. We are the peacemakers. We are the peace ambassadors, and these energies that we anchor into the land where we go, and the ceremonies that we hold, and the teachings that we speak to help others remember. We referred to fear here a couple times, and I know I'm under roof helping take care of my parents, and it's been a hard journey. And I'm in a community that is all 55 plus, and most of them not so awakened, and beautiful, amazing people. And I've come to realize that, beyond helping my parents, obviously I'm here to help transmute the energy. And I've become friends with many people in this community. But as I've been telling Lea right along, these people, so many people are suffering, and in fear and pain, and physical pain, and loss of loved ones, which Lea and I may have an opportunity. We'll see if it comes to be, to do a part 2 on this at another time on Lea's platform, if we're if we do that. But we've kicked that idea around because it leads right into, again, this is such a huge time. Where do we go? The choices we have, and it's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Well, we just have a few minutes left. I guess we have about 8 minutes left, but I'm laughing because I'm getting a hit. I'm looking only up because I have this book called the Trail of Tears, the Cherokees, their trail.
Yes.
And what I got was, Pam, I know I'm going back to Illinois, and you may be going with me. I heard that we will be clearing the Trail of Tears, but we will be clearing and bringing, we'll be bringing joy. Instead of the Trail of Tears, we're bringing tears of joy. So on this journey from Florida all the way to Illinois, we are going to be bringing joy.
Yes.
I just heard that in my head. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, my heart's laughing because I titled our little Facebook promos that I did have time to put out today. It was joy, joy, joy is what I wrote on there.
Oh.
So yeah, you'll have to take a look when we're done. But I know that for those of you who maybe do not know, I'm an old native soul, and I have been in many leadership positions in medicine woman, medicine man, shaman, and beyond. And I know that it's part of what I've come back to do. So I really identify as native in my soul. It's strong, and hence Silver Eagle. And so a lot of the work I've been doing here, this is very indigenous country. This is part of the Iroquois land. And a lot of these ceremonies I've done has been to help clear, all of the genocide that took place with our Red Nation, our brothers and sisters of the original people here on Turtle Island. So it brings me great joy, and I'm really looking forward to our journey, our adventure of joy.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Because, what we're to bring is this clearing that happened here in Northport. That energy has to go back to the heartland, which is interesting that I'm not going back to my hometown of Galesburg, Illinois, but my sister has invited me to stay with her in Springfield, Illinois, which is a spirit that is the heart, directly aligned to the heart of Mother Earth. I know many people say that there are different places, like Shasta is the the heart chakra, but we call the heartland, that region of where I'm from, the heartland. And so Spirit has told me that is directly aligned to the heart of Mother Earth. And the land is very fertile there, a very black, dark earth, very fertile land. And the people are very kind. And yet, I thought how interesting that I'm going to go to Springfield, and then it's now makes sense because I didn't feel like I should go, but now I know that I'm supposed to bring this energy that we did here from Northport, this activation, back to the heartland. And then I just got that hit that we'll be clearing that energy between those 2 points, across the country. It's a 1,300-mile trip, or 1,400-mile trip.
It's amazing. And like I said, when we look back at all the places we've been put and to be in service, stationed, if you will, and places we've traveled. Before I realized is when you were sharing about Anna Marie, the island back on the day we did the Earth Day celebration, the ceremony with Ramu. I told you I had done some work down there. It was during the red tide, the horrific red tide that we had. It's been a couple summers ago. I mean, I know it comes up every year, but it was that really bad year. And I with a friend, and I've done lots of work along the shores from St. Pete down into the Naples area. And again, all hindsight, years ago, I wasn't as aware, but I knew that I was to be out there clearing and doing sacred work. As well as up in West Central Florida in the Citrus County area, which is where I lived. I did a lot of work out there on the land and the waterways and with Earth Mothers. So just like you, if I trace back my steps, my trail, it's been doing it for a long time.
So we will have an adventure. I know we're going to hold an intention that all will be taken care of on your end, so that we can bring forth the trails of joy. Back from Florida, back to Illinois, to the heartland. So we will continue this part 2 on another show. And again, our time is very close here. But I just want to thank you for all that you're doing. And you look beautiful today. I'm really excited. And thank you for being part of this activation. And know that you're not alone and that you have not been left behind today, which is interesting as I reread this information. In my Monday morning Mary Magdalene calls, Christ was talking about opening our hearts, and that that many of us were joining together as the soul family, the soul tribe, or they called it a soul pod of compassion. And in referencing here, they were talking about holding our compassionate heart. And I thought, this pertains to what I was talking about today. So interesting. I channeled this just not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and now they're asking us to hold our hearts of compassion to heal.
And I just want to interject real quick for those, again, if we have any new viewers, while Lea was reading that whole transcript, it was most certainly a huge transmission. And so when you tune in with those who are working in their purity and from their heart center, you might have experienced or felt that energy coming through. So if there is, even though Lea was reading, and just because it's what we do, we kind of get used to it. It could be a very powerful transmission. I certainly could feel it. I know I was anchoring it. And so just understand that you received a real blessing this day, even, just beyond the knowledge that we've shared. And so we give gratitude. Lea, also want to recognize you for all the work that you've done and what you continue to bring here to the earth plane. And I'm just real grateful that we've reconnected again. And everyone, you want to drink a lot of water. And after you watch, whenever it is you watch, get outside and do some grounding so that you feel grounded in this. It's powerful energies today.
Thank you, my dear. Yes, I'm just used to this information, but I know that not everybody is. And you've been with me before, and I'm just, que sera, sera. And you're like, what? So
we go, well, okay, that's that. Those are her famous words when she's done channeling and so forth. And meanwhile, everybody else is, just like with me, I'm like, okay, grounding, because I'm afraid to take off, or people are just out. And she's just like, anybody have any comments? It's like,
no, I'm all done now. Okay, I'm off to the next thing. So anyhow.
Yeah, wonderful. Great to be here. Thank you so much. And
thank you, my dear. I love you. This has been great. It's been a great hour. And if anybody would like to contact me, you can certainly find me at leachapin.com on my website. And you can certainly contact me at leachapin@gmail.com. That's my individual email if you have any questions about this, or if you'd like to schedule individual reading. I have lots of happening. I have the podcast here. I do my Mary Magdalene every Monday morning. I do individual readings. I do workshops and classes. I write books, and I do earth activations with my friends. So what a delight. What a blessing to be with you today. So we will have fun. I love you. Thank you, Miss Tiffany. Thank you all today for listening, and be the light, for we are the change we wish to see. So go in peace. Namaste.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.